Hey guys, I think I'm rolling here, and hello everybody. It's been a while since I've made a video, especially about this league, but this is something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I plan to do a lot more of these videos. And in fact, I want to get back to doing some interviews. I just have to get my technology down as far as like I have to learn how to use it all efficiently, and not look so much like an amateur. It's always going to be a little bit amateur because I can't be calling Cowherd. I don't have a room full of technicians and a producer. I have to do this all myself, but I think it's a lot of fun. And I make these videos not for me to get some big footprint in YouTube land. It's for you guys. It's for us. It's for me. It's for our leagues. As you know, I run this program football league. This is my favorite league. And I also run a basketball league on Fantrax. It's kind of growing. I grabbed a few new guys for that league this year, and it's looking promising. So, if any of you have not joined that league yet, I have some openings, and I'd love to see some of you guys come over and give it a try. It's very easy. It's best ball, and you pretty much just draft your team and let it take care of itself. If you need new players, you can go out and drop guys and pick up free agents. You have a 15-man active roster, and the best guys rise to the box score. You've got three forwards, three guards, and one center, and then one flex, which is the best of the rest. So it's an 8-man team, and the league is growing. There's the trade. The trade rules are kind of interesting because you have to make trades that are based on NBA salaries, and they have to be close. They have to be basically within about 20% of each other. If you trade a guy for 10 million, you got to in return salaries coming your way have to be like 8 million to 12.4 million, and you figure that out really easily by just basically multiplying your base salary 10 million by zero point 0.8 and dividing it by zero point 0.8, and that gives you the range of salaries you need to have moving in your direction when you make that trade. At any rate, that's one of the finer points of the league. It's an exciting league, I think, because of that, and it's best ball, so it's easy. You can just sit back and kind of root for your team. But I didn't come here to talk about the basketball league too much. I wanted to talk about New Mexico today and what the Lobos have been doing in this league, which is dominate basically. And we're looking at their box score right now, and as you can see, they're making quick work of Fresno State. They lead 55-39. Admirable effort by Fresno State, but it's not going to be enough. And unfortunately for Fritz, the Bulldogs are going to drop to 3-4 after facing a rabid pack of Wolves from New Mexico, Phil Johnson's team. And right now, Phil Johnson and his Lobos are starting to set their sights on a title in 2023. No joke. And one of the reasons, this guy right here, Gardner Minshew, who the Lobos were able to pick up in the transfer draft, I believe, this offseason. He didn't score enough points last year to cause a draft restriction, so Phil Johnson astutely grabbed him. And it's too bad that Tulane wasn't able to grab Minshew because they have Anthony Richardson, and obviously Richardson's done for the year, and Minshew could have saved the day. We all know that Minshew has a history in the league. He's got experience, and he's more than capable of taking an NFL team and winning with an NFL team. And he definitely helped the Lobos win this week, scoring 10 fantasy points on 305 passing yards. He did fumble 3 times, and that was always the problem with Gardner Minshew. He just can't hold the ball. He's a little crazy back there in the pocket, but he's a lot of fun to watch. The former Washington State Cougar has made himself a nice little career in the NFL as a backup quarterback, sometimes starter, and he definitely could help the Lobos to win a title this year because obviously they drafted Bryce Young, and they felt fortunate to get Bryce Young, but Bryce has struggled a little bit in the early days of his career. And Minshew comes in and is a welcome addition to the team as he gives this Lobos team a double-headed quarterback situation. Whoever is going to have the better game in a given week is going to rise to the box score, and that makes the Lobos a serious title threat. Not to mention these numbers up here. This is a team that, since the bye weeks kicked in, has been scoring over 50 points a week. That's crazy. And their lowest score of the season was week one, 45 points. The Lobos are for real. So I wanted to talk a little bit about them and just what kind of things they can do. I mean, basically, let's just go over the roster real quick. You got the quarterback situation I talked about. Phil Johnson's always been known for picking up good running backs, at least guys who are serviceable. And even though Khalil Herbert got hurt and looks like he's going to be out for an extended period of time, well, he drafted Rashawn Johnson in the second round this year. And Rashawn has a little bit of a red flag here, but it's a concussion. He will be back. But lo and behold, Phil astutely grabs up Jordan Mason to help him out. And I'm trying to find Mason here where he grabbed him. There he is. Right there. He grabbed Jordan Mason on the 1st of August. That was the transfer draft. Nice little pickup there. Moving along to the wide receiver position, also a strength of the Lobos. Actually, one of their main strengths is the wide receiver position. Interesting situation with Darnell Mooney, though. He kind of disappeared this year. If you look at Mooney's past, he's had much better years. As you can see, a 65-point year back in 2021. And then the bottom started dropping out. He had 140 targets that year, 98 his rookie year. And it's kind of fallen apart since then. A little undersized at about 5'11 and 173, mostly skinny. He's tall enough, but kind of a weird size for any player at that position in the NFL or any player, period. You don't see a lot of guys at 5'11 and 175 pounds. At any rate, wide receiver position also a strength. They get Jamar Chase, the great Jamar Chase. Puka Nakua was an excellent pickup. I think he got him in the third round of the rookie draft this year. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Michael Pittman. The list goes on. Tutu Atwell on occasion can do well, especially when he is higher in the rotation with the Rams. That was going on early in the year when Cooper Kupp was out. And defensively, this team is solid. Got a strong front line led by Aiden Hutchinson. The linebackers are adequate and fairly deep, and his defensive backs. 3 deep, that might be a weakness at some point for them, the defensive back position. But I don't think this team is going to be struggling to get 7 wins. I think that's not going to be a problem for them, and that's what you need. That's the bottom line to challenge for a title. You have to get 7 wins, and obviously this team is well on its way. You can see their record right there. They're easily going to roll to victory this week against Fresno State. Their only loss coming in week 2 against Alabama. Alabama had a huge week that week with 51 points. But this team already has 6 wins. They need one more. And they don't have Oregon on the schedule anymore, so you can't get your guaranteed win there. Oregon being in a redshirt year. But one of these teams is going to fall to this team. They're going to get in. They're probably going to win at least 3 of these games. So this is very likely going to be your number 1 seed coming into the championship round. Looking back on the beginning of this video as I'm kind of creating it, and also right now I'm going to show you some highlights from, hold on here, show you some highlights from that Gardner Minshew game this week against the Colts. I definitely need a microphone stabilizer because I can hear a lot of noise from my microphone because I'm holding it in my hand. So that's one of the things I'm talking about when it comes to technology upgrades. I'm going to need to do something like that. Get one of those. I guess it's just something that holds the microphone and suspends it, where you can pull it closer and it's quiet. I can't wait to get that kind of stuff, and it's coming, guys. I'm going to have that. down the line. I'm going to get some good technology. I also realize that I have to be careful when I speak. Oh, offsides. Free play. Look at Minshew go. He can throw. I mean, the guy's got guts. You got to hand it to him. I love watching him play. Let's see if we can skip forward a little bit here and see Minshew a little bit more. This is the guy that's going to help the Lobos get that title. Back foot throw. Look at that. Guts. I mean, not everybody does this stuff. The guy has some talent. And he's been there before, too. He's played. He's actually got a lot of NFL games under his belt. Look at him take off running. He has nothing to lose. He's a backup quarterback. He's just having fun out there. You get the feeling that he just doesn't have anything to lose. Nobody is building their program around him. Look at that. In he goes. Gotta love him. And when he was at Washington State, he put up huge numbers. The Washington State Cougars in those days were a pretty explosive team offensively. But at any rate, yeah, I was getting back to that whole New Mexico thing. I mean, this team looks very capable now of winning a title. They couldn't get it done with Kyler Murray. Obviously, Kyler, undersized. I always thought he was. And, he was risky. Uh-oh, is that one of those fumbles? Let's go back and look. Minshew with the ball. There he is. See, that's the drawback of being a freewheeler back there, is those fumbles. But anyways, I'm not going to let this video go on too much longer. I just kind of wanted to test out this software. It's free software I have from Microsoft, Movie Maker software. It's called Clipchamp, and it's actually pretty easy to use. I've been fiddling around with it, especially today. It's my day off, and I like it. I think I could make some decent videos and make this a little bit of fun for us all. Talk about the league. Exciting times coming with the championship bracket coming very soon. You have to win 7 games to get in, and there can only be a maximum of 7 teams challenging for the national title. If you have a winning record, but you're the 8th place team based on, the different tiebreakers, you won't have that opportunity to win a championship. But if you were, say, the 8th team and you were the odd man out, you get an automatic bid into the bowl game that plays for the 7th overall draft pick the next season. As you know, in this league, the winner, the better you do, the more success is rewarded, basically. I'm watching the highlights, getting a little distracted here. And I'm also, you got to remember, I'm like I said, I'm kind of learning this software and learning how to do this smoothly. So I'm thinking about things that I'm going to do. Like, okay, I want to exit this screen soon and maybe check out one of the websites. And I'm going to do that right now. And eventually I'm going to have a much better desk situation set up. I'm going to have, like I said, something to hold my microphone for me. And then I can have my hands free. And you know what I'm talking about. Just general upgrades. And they're all coming. Anyways, looks like a crazy game they had there. Let's move over to the league again. There's the rankings. The helmets show it. You got the Lobos there at the top spot. Games are in progress right now, but it's looking like there's still going to be a lot of teams that are either on the bubble or have winning records. I think you go all the way back here to even Michigan being alive. I think the only 2 teams that are really out of it right now are Tulane and Oregon. Tulane, really surprising that they're out of it already. They've had a lot of bad luck. And speaking of which, let's just have a look here. Tulane scores over the year. They've been in the 40s early on. They haven't had a game, really a bad game, other than week 6, it looks like. But most weeks they've been in the 30s, 40s, winnable efforts. And it's just been a lot of bad luck. They had Anthony Richardson early in the year, and he was playing well. They have a great running back in Etienne this year. Wide receivers, obviously, a major problem. And that's what Hunter's going to have to do, is he's going to have to address the wide receiver position in a big way. Tight end is a hit or miss position. It's very hard to get a tight end. The Aztecs found that out firsthand this year and the last year. We have Isaiah Likely and Juwan Johnson not working out like we expected. But this team has some work to do, but they got a lot of hope here with Anthony Richardson. getting better. But with that, I'm going to take a little break again, and I'm going to come back if I have any more. Let's chill out with a little bit more music, and I'll be back in just a minute. Well, I think I'm going to wrap this video up. We'll just close out with the final schedule down the stretch for the New Mexico Lobos. Looking ahead past Fresno State, next week you got Georgia coming up. Georgia, of course, without a quarterback, and that will be a challenge for them as they come into this game in bad need of a win if they want to stay alive in their plight to get to the finals, get to the championship bracket. And that would go a long way for Fresno, or not Fresno, but for Georgia. Without a quarterback, if they could just get into that top 7 and get a better bowl in week 17, maybe they could address some issues that they have, perhaps get the quarterback they need, maybe a running back. Just do something to add on to this team that seems to be doing pretty well, in spite of the fact that they don't have a quarterback. Penn State is coming up. Penn State, of course, has been a surprise team. They come in with a great quarterback, a hot quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa. Devon Ashani, what happened to this guy? He's got an injury. Oh, boy. But he's not out for the season, a knee injury. But that's not a good thing for a guy who is as hot as Ashani. He was averaging almost 10 points a game. What is going on with the running backs from Miami, by the way? Unbelievable. I mean, they are just producing huge games on a regular basis. Jaleel McLaughlin was a nice little pickup at running back. He came out of nowhere for Denver. Also, they have Cal on the schedule. California, 3 weeks from now, maybe has Justin Jefferson back, and they need him pretty badly. Looking ahead for Cal, they got Fresno State, Alabama, and then New Mexico 3 weeks from now. So they have a couple of tough games before the New Mexico game, and whether or not they can survive is anyone's guess. They're still playing fairly well without Jefferson, but I don't know. Cal is one of those bubble teams. San Diego State on the schedule, and of course, San Diego State's one of the better teams in the league, defending champions, and they look very capable of getting back to the Final Four, getting to the BCS Championship Series, which has changed a little bit this year because there's like playoff games now. We're going to call them playoff games. They're bowl games that lead to the BCS game, the Final Four game, rather, the Final Four series. But San Diego State, always a tough challenge for anybody. And that one is in week 11. And looking at the buys for San Diego State, Stroud this week had his bye. Stevenson will be out that week, Ramondre Stevenson. Josh Downs, he will be missed. You know, as these games come up in the future, I'll probably do some previews. But San Diego State, obviously a big game for New Mexico. Could be a preview of the championship. Then they got Maryland in week 12, another huge game. Maryland, one of the top teams in the league, second best record coming into this week. They are looking at a 2-game losing streak and needing to get back on track. Like I said, you look at these schedules and there's hardly any games you could say are like, oh, wow, they should win that one for sure. Only Oregon is like that. Not even Tulane. So this is a very competitive league. I like it. And finally, Ohio State, the final game of the season. Ohio State kind of struggling in the middle of the pack, but staying alive. They had a tough start, going 2-3 out of the gates. And they're in a tough battle with Georgia this week. that could go either way. But of course, they're always a tough team. They're having trouble with Jalen Hurts being in and out, a little bit shaky with the injuries. But he's been pretty darn good this year. I think the injuries obviously starting to show up here lately. You see where he was red hot in week 4 and 5. Maybe running the ball a little too much. That's the drawback with those guys that like to run the ball. But Najee Harris is coming around a little bit. He had a good game against the Rams this weekend. Kenneth Walker, always a solid running back. If these guys can stay out there, they will give Ohio State a chance. And Ohio State is out of the weeds and the buys at running back. Weeks 5 and 6 have passed. One problem for this team has been the wide receiver position. What happened to T. Higgins? He's really fallen apart. Jerry Jeudy, never a sure thing. Defensively, the line, questionable. Linebackers look okay. Defensive backs, solid, very solid. Very strong secondary. But as I said before, every game is going to be a challenge in this league. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how it all plays out. So with that, I'm going to wrap this video, and I will talk to you guys very soon as we get ready for the second half of the season. It should be a lot of fun in the Program Football League, my favorite football league. Talk to you guys later.